It's Get Up Mornings, y'all. I'm Erica Campbell, and it has been a year since George Floyd was killed by former police officer Derek Chauvin. And up until now, the world has only heard from one juror who we had the privilege of talking to. But today, we welcome Journee Howard to the Get Up Church. She is a model and an actress, and she was juror number 9 in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. Good morning, Journee Howard, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So it's been about 6 weeks since the guilty verdict was announced, and you are only the second juror to speak out publicly. I understand that you were initially unsure whether or not you were going to share your story. What inspired you to speak out now?
I think after the year anniversary passed, it was kind of like I just was mentally ready. I wasn't sure, like you said, if I was even going to speak, but it kind of was a wake-up call that this is still important to a lot of people, and that it is something that I think if people are willing to listen, then I would love to share. So, yeah.
Wow. The jury panel was made up of 12 jurors and 2 alternates. And you are biracial, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what's your mix, and how old are you?
I am Black and white. My mom is white, my dad is Black, and I am 25 years old.
Did you see race as a factor in this case at all?
Going into something like this, it's hard not to in that situation.
Right.
But at the end of the day, our job was to set any biases that we had aside and really decide the facts of the matter of the case. And the fact was that Derek Chauvin was just a human being who happened to have a badge, and he abused the power of that badge, and it resulted in an unfortunate death of another person.
Yeah. What were the deliberations like? Tell us a little bit about the conversation that you had with the other jurors, if you can.
Yeah. So first off, I just want to say that I don't think any of us were expecting it to be as fast as it was. I know from the outside world, people were probably shocked. We were shocked as well. We all packed to be there for weeks, so I think it came to a surprise when we all came in and we started speaking with one another, and we're already really all on the same page where we were at and everything. And from there, it was just masks off, names. We wanted to get to know each other a little bit. We didn't want to be known as number 9 or number 87 anymore or anything. We're doing this thing, so we want to have some togetherness. So we did all that, and it was very fast. We would do a blind vote. The 4-person would make sure everyone was on the same page with the element that we were on, the count that we were on, the elements within that count. There's a few arguments and discussions about, terminology and what something meant as far as an element goes and things of that nature. But other than that, we were all right along with each other. We would blind vote. And even when it was a unanimous guilty, we would still discuss it further, just so that we made sure that we were beyond a reasonable doubt that this is the decision we want to make, So we would sometimes vote multiple times on the same count, which I found peculiar, but I understand something of this caliber. You want to be 100% certain you're making the right decision. It wasn't an easy decision to make, so.
Wow, that's so interesting. So after the verdict was announced, I know you couldn't talk very much while you were going through it. The trial is over, you go home, you talk to your parents. What was that like for you and your family? Did you feel a great sense of relief to be able to talk about it? How was it for you after it was all over?
Oh, absolutely. It was relieving. I actually had been making voice memos throughout because it was so difficult to not speak. So I just needed to talk to someone, even if it was just myself. So I would lock myself in a room. My partner, they would just stay as far away as possible so they couldn't hear. And I would just talk. And I was, oh man, I needed that, for that mental clarity. So once I finally got the chance to open up, they were surprised. They were very grateful and proud of me. And they were mostly just concerned for my safety, as I would assume any parent would be in a situation like that,
Absolutely. Well, we're proud of you, Journey. And I mean, even
Thank
for
you.
having this conversation with us. I don't want to be greedy. Griff, do you have a question for our guest today?
Journey, I have a really weird question because, our whole life we hear about different people getting picked to be on juries, right? And you have to know nothing about the case. You never heard nothing about this case? Like you never, like, I know you got picked because of that reason, but you heard nothing about this case in the year before you were picked.
So yeah, obviously I feel like pretty much everyone had seen the video that we all thought, I believe, was 8 minutes and 20 seconds. That in turn ended up being about a minute and a few seconds longer. So that was just kind of a basis, it was that. And then I'd see a few things here or there on, Facebook or the news or whatever, but I'm also not a very into politics so much, so I never dove into the story.
Right.
Because I also thought it was just I probably was along the same lines as a lot of people, where I thought it was just gonna be a case where something like this happens and that person gets off scot-free. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to get my hopes up with anything. And so then when I got the questionnaire, I was like, whoa, and from there, they let you know right out the gate, filling this out, even if you aren't selected, just until you hear back from us, try not to watch any news, try not to, stay away from social media regarding this case and everything. And so I really wanted to be proactive about that. And so I really made a point to not read posts, not look at comments, not actively choose to look into this case. So that way I could go in with as little bias as possible and have an easier time setting that aside.
Well, that's very, very responsible. Coming from a biracial family, does race ever come up in your conversation? Or, I mean, I know once it's your mom and dad, it's just your mom and dad, but
Right.
had that ever been a conversation at all?
Right. I feel like not with my dad so much. Again, he's Black, my siblings and I are Black. So it never really felt like we needed to discuss, like, being Black in America, because we just understood it. So it's just kind of like, you don't need to talk about it. And my mom, despite being white and having mixed kids, she doesn't look at us like that. She just sees us as her babies. She doesn't are like, these my Black kids. She just sees us as her babies. So there have been times where, we were discriminated against or harassed or whatever, and she would stand up for us, just protecting us, period, and educate that person as to why they were misinformed as to what they were saying and whatnot. So yeah, my mom's just a very kind, loving person. So no matter what, she was always had our backs with everything. And there are times where, she wouldn't understand something, so I'd educate her or whatever, but then she's just like, oh, she understands that she doesn't understand, and I respect her for that, for sure.
How about that?
That's
Right.
really great. How are things in Minneapolis today?
I would say that pre his death, policing has been a little bit different. I feel like it's been a little bit lighter in certain areas, which has resulted in a little bit higher rate of crime. But aside from all that, I feel like there's an overwhelming sense of solidarity within the city and the community as a whole. People are really just want to support and love each other and want people to be safe.
Wow. Derek Chauvin's court case last week facing civil charges, and he'll be sentenced on federal charges soon. How do you feel about the role you played as Juror 9 in this case? Such a huge role that you played at such a young age. How do you feel? And do you feel like your life is kind of back to normal? Do you feel like you'll never be the same?
I don't think I'll ever be the same. I mean, maybe it's in hindsight, I might change my mind a few years or a few months even down the road. But as of right now, I definitely think I'm a better person for it. I think I've come out and seeing things in a whole different light than I probably had my mindset before. I'm a very optimistic and empathetic person. So I kind of felt like there was always, anxiety and tension in the room and stuff. So I would just try to be like this beacon of light and be like lighthearted and, just kind of come in smiling and make sure like,
Yeah.
how are you? How's it? Have a good day. I like your dress. You know what I mean? I just was trying to bring a little bit of positive energy into something that could have been very, very morbid.
Were they receiving that in the morning, or was they all going, no, Journee, not today?
No, very receptive. I was actually surprised. Everyone from judge to jurors to officers that escorted us into the building, everyone was so hospitable and kind, and good mornings, you know, all of that. We respected our distance and everything. And it was just like, we understood that there needed to be a little bit of, again, lightheartedness with the situation, or else some people might not have made it through, you know?
Yeah. Well, it has been a pleasure talking to you, Journee Howard,
Thank you
juror number 9. But I say, with young people like you, I feel like our future is in good hands. Your perspective, just the joy that you have is really, really refreshing. So I'm glad we have a chance to talk to you again. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So many people, if you could say something to people who rejects jury duty, who ignore those letters, what would you say about doing your civic duty?
I would say just do it. If you have the opportunity and the means to vote and result in your chance on possibly being on a jury, I think that's super important. And it's, to some people, to me, you know, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of a big following for people to just believe anything I say or anything like that. So I thought that this was the best way to contribute to my community and to my area. So if you feel like there's something more that you'd like to do, but you just don't know how to do it, that is a perfect opportunity. And you don't have to wait until the next presidential election. You can wait until there's a voting for mayor or governor, or just some, you know, state council members or something. So definitely take the opportunity to do so if you can. I promise you won't regret it.
Erica, I love her spirit. And Journee, you better find you a publisher. If you took all those voice notes, that is an audio book, ma'am, that a lot of people would like to hear. Like, let me just drop that on your spirit real quick.
Right.
Find you a publisher. A lot of people would listen. It's a good time to be young and woke.
If you know someone, let me know.
Thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate you. Tell the people how they can follow you on social media.
Of course. Thank you again. Yeah, so my Instagram, just my first name, Journee Deleu, JOURNEEDELU. You can follow me on Twitter, same name, just underscore afterwards, Journee Deleu _ And also, if you're into graphic design, or you need anyone that is a graphic designer, you can follow Shay Maze on Instagram, just SHEA _ MAZE. And yeah, I just want to say thank you again. And also I want to give my condolences to the Floyd family for their loss. I know a guilty verdict is probably a big thing for them, but it doesn't bring him back in anything like that. So yeah, I just want to give my condolences as well.
Well, I think you are amazing. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope you guys take care, and I hope to hear from you soon.
Absolutely. All right, y'all, stick around. It gets better and better right here on Get Up Mornings.